The maid smiled at me like I was part of the furniture, polite, distant, paid to be there. My wife didn't even look up from her phone when she said it. I hired help. Cleaning is below me. You make enough money, so deal with it. Below her? The word landed softly, like a glass set carefully on a table. No sound, no crack, just the promise of something breaking late. I stood in the doorway, briefcase still in my hand, watching a stranger wipe fingerprints off a house I paid for, watching my wife scroll through a life she believed was untouchable. I felt nothing. That scared me more than anger ever could. I nodded. You're absolutely right. Her lips curved, victory assumed. She didn't see what I was already calculating. That night I lay awake beside her, listening to her breathe. Slow, certain, the breathing of someone who thinks their position is permanent. I stared at the ceiling and understood something with brutal clarity. This wasn't about a maid, it was about value, about usefulness, about who could be replaced without anyone noticing. And once that thought settled in, it refused to leave. The disrespect hadn't arrived suddenly. It had been rehearsed, months of small dismissals, jokes about my job being just money, comments about how she deserved comfort, how her presence alone was contribution enough. She was stay-at-home by choice, no children, no responsibilities she couldn't outsource, and now apparently no obligation to pretend. I replayed moments I had ignored, her laughter when bills came in, her irritation when I asked about expenses, the way she spoke at me, never to me. Love hadn't vanished, it had been converted into entitlement. I wondered when she stopped seeing me as a partner and started seeing me as infrastructure. I didn't confront her. Confrontation is for people who still hope to be understood. Instead, I listened. I watched her hand the maid instructions like commands, watched her complain about exhaustion after days spent online, watched her spend money like proof of existence. I asked myself a question that felt treasonous the first time it surfaced. What exactly am I paying for? The answer came back colder each time. Nothing that couldn't be itemized. I became efficient. I reviewed bank statements the way surgeons review scans, calm, methodical. Patterns emerged, expenses she never mentioned, subscriptions I never used. I observed her routines, how she left the house without purpose, how she returned without stories. At home I was agreeable, quiet, predictable. She mistook silence for surrender. I consulted a lawyer during lunch breaks, framed it as curiosity, learned the language of separation like a second dialect. I researched household labor costs, hourly rates, monthly totals, cleaning, cooking, errands, emotional absence. The math was unforgiving. I imagined my life without her, presence filling rooms with demands. The image brought relief, not fear. Still, I waited. Because control isn't seized in haste, it's taken when the other person is most comfortable. She continued spending, I continued watching, and somewhere along the way I stopped thinking of her as my wife. She became an expense report. The confirmation didn't come with fireworks, just a spreadsheet, columns, totals, comparisons. I printed it, clean paper, sharp ink. That evening I set it on the table between us. She frowned. What's this? I sat down slowly. A breakdown. She laughed, a short, dismissive sound. You're being dramatic. I slid the second page forward. Projected costs, outsourced equivalents. Her smile hesitated. I didn't raise my voice, didn't accuse. I wanted to understand the value exchange, I said. Silence expanded. Her eyes moved faster now, scanning numbers she didn't like. What is this supposed to mean? I met her gaze for the first time in days. It means I verified something I already felt. Her face shifted, not guilt, not anger, fear. The maid was gone the next morning, paid, thanked, replaced by emptiness. By afternoon, her cards declined, one by one. Groceries, salon, shopping. She called me, voice sharp. "There's a problem with my accounts." "I know." When she came home, the envelope was waiting. Divorce papers, neatly arranged. One phrase highlighted: reason, redundancy. She stared at it like it might explode. "You can't be serious." I remained standing, coat on, keys in hand. "If I'm paying someone to maintain the house," I said, "and funding a lifestyle that contributes nothing to mine, then functionally I don't need two dependents." Her mouth opened, closed. I watched comprehension hurt her. "This isn't love," she whispered. "No," I agreed. "It's inventory management." She reached for me. I stepped back. I left that night, not in anger, in resolution. The house was cleaner than it had ever been, empty but honest. I didn't feel victorious, I felt accurate. Somewhere behind her, her world was collapsing under the weight of its own assumptions. Mine was quiet, balanced, mine again. I learned something essential. People who call work below them eventually find themselves beneath consequences, and I no longer carry what no longer serves.